Well, have I got another fish going on? Yeah, I do. Now that's a good one, folks. That is a good one. Howdy, folks. So I'm on the way to the Mississippi. It come about 3 inches of rain last night, and it's got the little ditches running, the creeks and stuff around there. So I've always caught fish in a scenario like that. Everything piles up at the end of them creeks whenever it's doing that, or ditches or whatever. Anything that's rolling out into the river, it's got fresh rainwater in it. So watch this video, see if I catch anything, and always remember that you can generally catch fish whenever them creeks and ditches are doing that. I will see y'all here directly. Well, folks, here we are. And we got company. I bet them folks was commercial fishermen. Never dreamed they'd have been people out today the way it's supposed to thunder and stuff. I'm about the only crazy son of a buck that'll come out when it's inclement weather. That's the reason why I kind of feel like those commercial guys. They got to make a living. They got to be out here. My skipjack was frozen, so it's going to be just a little bit before they start biting, if they do. This is the perfect scenario. Anytime you can find these rivers dumping fresh water into the main river, it's a good thing. Then if it does something to the fish, it makes them feed. I hope we get a big one today. The possibilities there. So I know this thing hasn't been dumping water off in here for maybe 10-12 hours. So hopefully the fish ain't pushed on up in the river. Hopefully they're coming up out of the Mississippi and coming in here. Everything's raising. The Mississippi's raising. This thing I'm sure is raising. I hear gar flopping everywhere. Like I said, fish really ought to be feeding right here. This is the kind of scenarios for all you guys that's always wanting to locate fish. This is the easiest way to find them. They'll always be at the mouth of these ditches where they're dumping fresh water off there after a rain. You might have to move around in the mouth of that ditch to find the school. See, I got these 2 poles in about 35 foot of water out here. That rock pile right there acts like a dike, so it washes out like a scour hole. And then over here, it's about 10 foot deep. I got a pole throwed out there. Good place for skipjack to be too. Goes the thunder and the lightning, I can pull up on that bank right there and ride it out. Go right back to fishing if I go to catching. I wished I'd have took time and got some fresh live perch last night. God dog, I was so tired when I got off from work. I had to retie all my rods from being down there in Ohio and catching all them gar the other day. Middle pole, look at her go. Strip and drag, folks. God dog. That did not take long. That's what I was after. Feels like a good heavy fish too. Good heavy fish. As I was saying, This is the types of scenarios that cat fishermen dream of right here. My fur right hand pole's getting a bite too. This one ain't as big as I initially thought, but it's still a good fish. It's channel cat. Not the blue. It's hard to say in this muddy water. Right there's the reason why you use a long-handled dip net when you're in current. It sure does help. Good 15, 18 pound fish. Trying to keep everything from getting all tangled up. Now, and I'm trying to keep my fingers from getting all bloody. Nice 18 pound blue. Moving on up towards the Ohio class. El numero 10. Been here 5 minutes. Left hand pole, folks. Maybe. It just, when you freeze them skipjack, it takes it a little bit for them to do their thing. I've got plenty of them, so I'm gonna keep my baits fresh. I probably won't run head pieces until I run out. I'll do the blue cat circle dance. They call it the blue cat circle dance. They being the people who dance. I'm not a dancer. I'm more of a stander and watcher of fishing poles. There's the possibility of a big son of a buck laying down in there too. Very good possibility. I can safely say this one spot right here, I've caught more 50-pound plus fish than any other place I've ever fished. Usually in scenarios like this. About the only time that I would fish in the summer times when it come a hard, heavy thunderstorm like this, and I'd come out then. Then I knew I could find them. But we got a couple different things going for us today. The river's raising. We're right underneath a stationary front. It's the fall transition, whatever that is. That means that they do stuff different in the fall. And it's right there when they start doing that stuff different. And I know enough about the Mississippi River to know that them fish is real migratory. So sometimes you come out here and you don't catch a fish, and I don't care what you do, whatever, they just think you'll catch a few channel cat. But then sometimes you come out here and everywhere you throw there's a blue cat laying. I think they go up and down these rivers in big waves. So what I'm figuring happens now is these catfish, the water temperature's falling, these catfish are going to their winter homes. So I'm going to start treating it just like it's wintertime, fishing those places where I know that they're at every winter. I didn't even look at the water temperature. I figure last week's hot spell, it raised it a little bit. With this fresh water running in here, it probably lowered it a little. I do think I can tell by the feeling of the air. I think the rain's over with. You know, I'll say that and it'll come as a toad floater. But that's just the way it is. Probably start scaling my bait down. We're using littler and littler bait. In another month or so, it'll be shad time. That's my favorite time. I love to fish in the winter time with shad. Catch a lot of fish that way. The good thing about it is you don't necessarily have to have, great big old baits in the wintertime. They're more of an opportunity feeding time for them. So if something gets in front of them, they're going to open their mouth and take it. Middle pole, folks, middle pole. Look at him going down. And he's stripping drag right out of the gate. He come off. That fish had fiddled with it for a little bit. So them folks are conservation. I did not know that. I thought they had a strange boat for a pleasure craft, so I knew that it either had to be commercial or conservation. They was wearing life jackets, so that's usually a good sign that it's conservation. Well, I kind of wished I'd have hooked that fish now, it being conservation and all. I need to so this far left-hand pole's way out there in that 30 foot of water. This one's on the ledge, and this one, right where it drops off, about halfway down, and this one's on top. So I need to probably shift my poles around a little bit. I'm gonna give them about another 5 minutes, and that way, well, I don't know why, but I'm just gonna give them about another 5 minutes and see what happens. Because I'm probably, if I do anything, I'm gonna start working my way up this ditch or creek or whatever it is. And there's a couple deep holes up there that hold catfish, and it probably ain't been fished because you can't get a boat down here in 3 or 4 weeks, so everything should be virtually not messed with. That was a channel cat there, up on top of the water. Well, folks, I think I'm on a move. When I come back down through here, I'm gonna shift the boat around a little bit and set up on them different. I don't know, like I said, I don't know. The fish that's down there might have moved on upriver by now. I don't know, but we will find them. Well, we didn't do a lot of moving. We moved over just a hair. See how that does. Tried a little while longer here. I went up creek and couldn't find any place I liked. It didn't take long to grab one here though, did it? He about took the pole out of my hand. I was sitting there watching them waves. I think this thing is tangled up on my other pole already. Not a monster fish, but it is a fish. I mean, that didn't take 20 seconds. We got crazy barge going on. It's a channel cat. I didn't think it'd hit like a blue. God, dog. I must have threw it right in his mouth. Get him over in the boat before he... Well, I got another fish going on? Yeah, I do. Now that's a good one, folks. That is a good one. Sometimes all it does is just a little bit of moving. I was messing with that little channel cat, and I looked over here and this was bent double. And I thought it might have been hung up, but it wasn't. Now he's acting strange now. So we moved over about 10 foot, and within a minute, I've got 2 fish on. And he's just peel and drag right there. Look at that. I am not stopping him by no means right there. Of course, I got my drag set a little light so that if I do get screwed up, then a situation like that, he don't mess with anything. That fish is just going wherever in the world he wants to. I'm gonna get my dip net over here. I don't think he's all that humongous. But he is a good fish. Because I can't do much with him. He's been all over the mouth of this river. He's pulling the boat sideways now. I know one thing, this, folks, is what it's all about. This is the reason why we catfish crap like this. He's back to pill and drag. God dog, this is a battle. My arms are getting tired already. You just lay there and you be calm. I knew they was a good one laying out here. They always is when this river's doing this. Yeah, that's a good blue, folks, good one. Stay out of that other line. This, my friends, is why we fish the Mississippi right here. The Ohio's got a minute, but I believe the Mississippi might have more of these big son of a guns. Stay on there, you son of a gun. I want to show these folks what Mississippi River fish ought to look like. Oh, he's under the boat. I ain't got a good look at him yet because the water's so muddy. by his tail and everything, I'd say he's north of 40. I just as well as let him sit here and do his thing for a little bit. Like to see his head in case he gets off so I could make a rough estimate on how big he is. But every time he comes up, he's underneath the boat like that. Yeah, it don't matter now, he's in the net. Woo! He'll go about 40, that's kind of what I was thinking. Move this other pole so when I bring him over, he don't break it. Dog. Hell, he'll do more than 40. Woo! That's the reason why we catfish, folks, right there. God, dog. Whew. Let me get everything straightened out here because I'm gonna try to weigh him in the net so it don't hurt him. What do y'all think? Think he'll go 60? Get this handle out of this net because this is going to take an act of Congress to get a good weight on him. By myself. $49. $49, folks. I still got another fish in the boat to deal with. Dog, that's exciting. I knew that if we moved around right here, we'd find them. And I knew that they'd be a big one here. There almost always is right here when this river's doing this. Is that the big fish here that's here now? I don't know. I got a fish over here in the bottom of the boat I gotta go deal with. I gotta unmess the boat. I'll be fishing here again directly, folks. Well, folks, we're back to fishing. I just flung my poles out, had to rework one. I'm back at my trusty bridge. We're gonna give them a little bit here and probably call it a day. I just kind of wanted to see if they was biting somewhere else besides at the mouth of that river or ditch or whatever you want to call it. Just for knowledge purposes. This is one of those kinds of places, if they're biting, they're gonna be in here. So I figured I'd try her out for a little bit and see what happened before I loaded the boat. Everything's got fresh bait on it. I can give her a whirl. I scanned quite a few fish down there around no tree that's down there. Kind of trying to sprinkle rain. Like I said, if nothing else, it's been a very successful day. You know. Of course, I wouldn't mind to get a couple more real quick. I ain't gonna search for them real hard. I could go home, get some rest, think about life. I gotta cut a video. They sure ain't the activity here that they was back there at the mouth of that ditch. I know what it was. I've done that bluecat dance. When you do them bluecat dances, you'll catch fish. So you gotta do. And I'm not a dancer. If somebody was to be watching me right now, they would be like, is he trying to send out an SOS? Is he in danger? Because he acts like he's got some kind of disease. Or maybe having a seizure. Wished I had me a hot dog. That's a bad thing when Aaron ain't around. I ain't got no hot dogs, no Vienna sausage. My mind does not work that away. I'm just ready to get the boat in the water and get a pole in the water whenever I go. For this river coming up, it ain't all that muddy. I figured out what was wrong with my depth finder because I jacked with it 20-30 minutes floating down the river. So evidently I'd hit a little piece of stump or something out there in the river that was floating down through there and flipped that transducer up. So it's back online. and I had the settings so jacked up on it. I had to reset everything back to factory default and go from there. Well, folks, I think I'm gonna call it before that barge gets here. It's been fun. We caught a pretty good one today. Caught a couple others. We wasn't out here 4 hours in total. I'm gonna go get some rest, and I will see you all the next time. Nope.